Right, evening everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. It's hard to believe I just had a conversation with a guy who's actually been doing the hedges around the path that I've been doing, or walking right now. Turns out, these hedges used to come out all the way onto the pathway. Good luck getting anybody through on that, but that's not why you called. Now I will be talking about Danny Tommo, and maybe Keir the traitor Starmer, maybe another odd subject, but for now, I want to spend 90 seconds talking about this. It's a question to you lot, and that question is probably not going to ring too well, but am I wasting my time? At least as far as YouTube's concerned, because what I've noticed, I've said this before, I'll say it here again, is that with 4,300 subs, I should, you would think, at least be getting like 500 views a video, if nothing else. Or rather, I should say, within like a day or two. And yet it seems to me that more and more videos are going up, and I accept I don't really add much to the table at the moment, but that's mainly because what else is there to talk about? Think of it like a gold mine. There's only so much gold you can mine before all you're left with is coal. That's what I feel like in most of the subjects. Whether it's Keir Starmer, whether it's Nigel Farage, whether it's the migrant crisis, whether it's an invasion, whatever the subject is, you can only do so much. And in my defence, whenever something new has cropped up, I will cover it the first chance I get. You don't do this for 9 years and basically not know the basics of this. But if I'm not getting any fucking views on my videos whatsoever, I accept I don't put shitloads of effort in, and I'm not exactly perfect. And I said, don't bring many talking points, but surely I should be getting a few more views than 200 in a week or so. I guess to put it simply, should I continue my YouTube stuff? Or should I go elsewhere? Am I wasting my time with YouTube? Is essentially what I'm asking. Because it sure feels like it to me. Now, let's get on to Danny Tommo first and foremost. Turns out that even what is the French equivalent of MI5 are getting involved in trying to stop the English patriots from doing the job the NGOs and the French should have been doing, aka stopping the migrants. But the way to look at it at this point is think of it as a bathtub. And right now, the French, they're turning the tap. Because, understandably, I can understand why they're doing it. Basically, they are trying to get rid of their migrants, or sorry, the migrants that have come over to them. They're trying to ship them over to us. Can you blame them? These people who bring next to nothing to this country, who effectively are a drain on our resources. I mean, at best, they're a question mark, and at worst, they're a danger. Because that's what the truth is at the end of the day. Right now, we have done no checks on any of the people that have come over to this country, with the exception, of course, of what I mentioned in the last video about what Danny Tommo uncovered. Or did I upload? You know, I can't even remember if I uploaded it. But if I didn't, basically a rundown was Danny Tommo put a whistleblower, anonymous of course, on his channel and basically said, well, look at what the problems are right now with this current crisis. And this guy had actively confirmed that they're basically all working together. There's a substantial amount of money being put towards these migrants, which could have easily been used to improve infrastructure, improve the quality of life of our homeless veterans, and improve the United Kingdom as a whole. But instead, Keir the traitor Starmer, and of course the French government and the French MI5 service, they're effectively using this opportunity to piss our money at the wall, bring in the migrants to the UK, and effectively do nothing about it. The sad thing is, the French could have easily done their job on their end and prevented these people from coming into France. Because what you've got to remember is that these illegals have got to follow EU rules. I've mentioned it a considerable number of times on this channel, but according to Schengen or non-Schengen rules, and of course the EU, these people, by EU law, have to claim asylum in the first safe EU country they get to. And I'm pretty fucking sure there's quite a few countries that are also part of the European Union. I'm pretty sure it isn't a one-man band with France. So if the French were interested in actually doing their job and stopping these people coming in, they would have stopped them right at the gates of their own country. Maybe we should lend them our bulldogs. After all, some of these people, mainly from Middle Eastern countries, aka Islamic countries, a lot of these people don't take too kindly to dogs. They're quite afraid of them. Willing to bet dollars to donuts, a few hundred of those British bulldogs, and they'd be fucking running, just like that. But no, instead, the French, they want to keep the tap on and leak all of their migrants onto us. Of course, Keir the traitor Starmer has as much backbone as a flexi keyboard, and the only key he uses is enter. Anyway, the fact of the matter is, Keir the traitor Starmer, if he had any bollocks, could easily say, we're not taking these people. Any politician with any common sense would tell the French to go and swivel, quite frankly. They are not our responsibility. They're yours. Whatever the fuck their name is, the French MI5, whatever your names are, you need to get your own house in order before you leak your own shit into ours. How sad is it that MI5, the French government, the NGOs, Keir the traitor Starmer, they've got all the energy in the world to stop people from bringing in their xenophobia, in air quotes, or to try and stop a hate march or whatever fucking buzzwords they're going to use. I can't be fucked with all this. But they've got all the energy in the world, all the resources in the world to stop patriots from doing the job they should be doing, but they haven't got any effort, any energy, or any balls to deal with the invaders. But of course the mainstream media won't tell you this. You know the drill, folks, because say it with me, it doesn't suit the narrative. It's honestly beggars fucking belief how we're still floating at this point, the amount of invaders we've taken into this country. The sad truth is, if we had someone like Rupert Lowe, or Ben Habib in power, or perish the thought Tommy Robinson, they would have cleaned up this mess decades ago. Whereas Keir the traitor Starmer can't even clean the cobwebs out of his backroom closet, let alone the country. Said the spider to the fly, why the fuck do you still lie? Is there any promise that Starmer has made that isn't broken? Actually, nope. I can think of a promise that he's made that he hasn't broken, and that is the one which he said, one of the very first speeches, and I quote, I will do everything I can to protect the Muslim community, end quote. And Starmer wonders why he is vilified by most of the public. Hell, at this point, he's even trying to get us closer with EU ties. We know this full well. He is a blatant Europhile. He is so eager to get us to sign up to the unelected bureaucrats in Brussels that he basically was spearheading a campaign for Labour to try and keep us in the European Union, even though it was very clear a lot of us didn't want to go there. Hell, with the vote concluded and 17.4 million people deciding they want no part of this in the largest democratic vote in history, Keir the traitor Starmer is looking to basically betray all 17.4 million. Hell, even people who would align themselves with wanting to be part of the EU, a lot of them do not like Keir the traitor Starmer because of the way he's handled this, how he is basically being anti-democratic and is effectively the most incompetent leader we've ever had. Is it unsurprising, though, that we now have Amelia videos coming out, which is basically saying, I basically put forward a motion to call Keir Starmer the right honourable wanker rather than the right honourable man. Personally, I think even that's wrong. I think he should be called a wanker, not right and honourable, because there is no honour with that man. There is as much honour with that man as Islamic honour killings. I mean, honestly, where's the honour in butchering someone just because they want to go with someone that you don't particularly agree with? Yeah, that makes sense. As said before, Starmer's days are numbered. He is not going to last the year. He'll be lucky if he lasts 6 months, let alone the rest of 2026. The way I see it, it's sad that he, the French equivalent of MI5, the NGOs, are all in it together, and they're doing everything they can to stop patriots from coming over to do the job they should be doing. it is very sad they've put all that conceited effort into stopping people who are quite rightly fucking angry at the fact that our women and children are being endangered because the French haven't got the balls, whether up here or down there, or in my case both, to actually do their job and keep the invaders out of their own country, let alone ours. Mind you, that country was headed by pro-Europhile Emmanuel Macron, who had all the same competency as a wet sponge. Same country that decided to pin charges on one Marine Le Pen, who they basically deemed as the mythical far right. Yet what was far right about wanting French sovereignty, wanting to protect your borders, wanting to ban a death cult from your country, just like how a lot of us feel right now, only obviously English rather than French? How is it these people are so incapable of stroke number one, realising what their people want? Is it really that hard to be a career politician? Well, yes, if it involves telling the truth. Anyway, is it really that hard to listen to the people and actually deliver what the fuck they want? Am I missing a trick here? Am I missing something? Is what little intelligence I have not computing with this? Maybe my brain is full of, keystrokes. Who knows? But I would have thought, I think if it was me in power, I think I'd just about have enough fucking processing power in my head to realise, maybe I should be listening to the people, rather than listening to what the people who want to give me shitloads of cash want. But as we know, politicians are not patriotic. Well, most of them aren't anyway. Politicians only care about themselves, what gives them power, what gives them money, what gives them a luxurious lifestyle. Meanwhile, we the working class, or in my case the poor class, who can somehow still work, we have to sit here making ends meet, trying to fend for ourselves in an increasingly hostile environment where taxes are going up, utilities are going up, rent is going up, elections are being cancelled, and we have an invasion of a death cult religion that is Islam that effectively wants to conquer this nation. 50 other fucking nations that support Sharia law, and yet these people come here to conquer us. And that, of course, is something the mainstream media are not going to want to tell you. But I am kind of going off course here. Where's my navigational map? What this effectively comes down to, though, is I see Danny Tommo and his group of people legally doing the job the French should be doing. They are protesting, they are protecting their borders, they are protecting our women and children, they are trying to get some of these people, even though most of them probably don't deserve to be in our country, trying to get them to realise that they need to behave in order to stay in our country. Do you see the French doing any of that? Of course not. How much did I say that the French had to basically spend on drones that they have both sides of the pond, and they're basically doing fuck all? They're monitoring the migrants, ensuring they get over to England. They could have easily used that money to take out the trash. What have they done? They've basically done nothing. In fact, no, they've done worse than nothing. They facilitated the invasion to this country because they haven't got the guts to actually stop the invasion of their own country. And I know a lot of people won't like the way I keep saying it, but here's the thing about me, and you lot can say it with me. I'm not going to sugarcoat a motherfucking thing. I'm not going to mince my words. I'm going to say it exactly how it is, and I'll do my best not to bullshit you. The French will not like what I have to say. I couldn't give a fuck, to be honest. You didn't want this. You didn't want to get roasted over a Spitfire. You should have done your job. You didn't want me metaphorically kicking your ass. You should have actually deported these people from your own country, rather than trying to leak them into ours. But to play devil's advocate, I do accept that England is a better country to live in than France, even if this is a biased opinion. After all, this is the greatest nation on the planet, and we basically hand out a package that only royalty should be getting at this point, but unfortunately we hand it out to every Tom, Dick and Harry, or is it Alan, Muhammad and Abdul, that comes into this country. And who can blame these people for coming over to this country when we hand out so much? We might as well hand them over a fucking Porsche at this point as well. So it would be unfair to blame the migrants for wanting to be, I guess, fortune seekers. That is what they are. Well, it's that or they're welfare tourists. You pick one, to be honest, because I'm starting to run out of energy to put up with this shit. But I definitely think the French's efforts are heavily misdirected. Their efforts shouldn't be trying to stop gatherings of protesters or trying to stop Danny Tommo from doing the job they should have done in the fucking first place. They should have been deporting these people the moment they came into their country, because as I said, under EU's own laws, which I still believe France is a part of, it is actually illegal for them to go from one safe EU country to another. Therefore, any possibility whatsoever of these people having any legal or human right to be here, let alone France, it should have been evaporated. It's shit like this that makes me say what I say about, I do think that this government's going to end up getting overthrown, or that there's going to be a violent revolution. And that, obviously I've said this many times before, and I'll say it again without fail, that I don't want that shit to happen, and I would never advocate for it or condone it. But that's the direction we're heading right now. All because Keir the traitor Starmer can't grow a pair of balls, upstairs or downstairs, I don't care, and actually deal with this problem. Or better still, if he doesn't have the balls to do it, he could at least have the decency and then I woke up. Anyway, he could have at least the decency to actually say, you know what, I can't do this, I'm going to resign. Call a general election. But as we all know, Starmer won't do that, because dictators never resign. Now, one final topic before I head off, and that is going to be about what Donald Trump said as far as our soldiers is concerned in the Middle East. Actually, no, well, technically, yeah, it is strictly speaking true, as far as the second tweet he put out, but there was one message that basically got misconstrued by a lot of people, that people thought, oh, Trump's disrespecting our soldiers, which actually wasn't the case. Ironically, alongside the US, we actually have contributed more than any other European country. So when we read that, obviously some of us had thought, without mentioning names, some of us thought that they were referring to our soldiers, but it turns out that's not the case, that Donald Trump was actually criticising the European countries who hadn't even remotely put enough troops in the Middle East dealing with Afghanistan and what have you, whereas the US have lost thousands of soldiers. And obviously we have to pay respect to our war dead, or those that have died fighting the good fight, or in Tony Blair's case, the wrong fight. But Trump actually put out a second statement basically honouring our war dead, honouring those that have died in Afghanistan, and quite rightly so, because it's not like we contributed fuck all. It's not like we sat here, twiddled our thumbs while the US was getting blood poured out into the sands of the Middle East. No, we did actually contribute quite a few soldiers. So at least he recognised that and actually put it right again. Because believe it or not, Trump does see us as allies. He does see us as the people who are his closest friends. The problem is, of course, we have a traitor in our midst who is doing everything he can not only to sabotage our country, but our relationships as well. Obviously, Keir the traitor Starmer is not very liked by Donald Trump, considering he has lied to Trump's face saying that we have free speech. Yet, if you try to exercise it, they can send the boys round. Actually, no, they can't. They will. Starmer can't... Sorry, that was my lunch. Or dinner, sorry. Anyway, Starmer can't honestly think that he is going to be able to get away with this stuff. The amount of petitions that have been put out about Keir the traitor Starmer and calling for a general election, calling for him to resign, calling him to stop the Online Safety Act, calls for him to basically stop being an insufferable piece of shit. While it doesn't work as far as getting results is concerned, what it does do is it actively humiliates Keir the traitor Starmer. It shows him up for what a total wanker that man is. He could literally be the right hand to the king of wankery at this point, of how much he's been an absolute tool. The bottom line here is that the French can't be surprised that people like Danny Tommo and Ryan and whoever else have decided to go alongside them, as long as other put my dentures back in, one sec, and other fellow patriots, they're basically going over there, as I said, can't stress this enough, to do the job that the French government should have been doing. Rather than trying to turn the screw, as it were, on the indigenous people of the United Kingdom or France, they should have been doing their job. They should have been deporting these people. If the French had any fucking bollocks, they would have removed these people from their country rather than try to leak them into ours. After all, EU's own law dictates that they have to go to the safe... Sorry, I can't even get the words out now. They have to claim asylum in the first safe EU country they get to. And as I've said, I am pretty damn certain there's at least one country that comes before France and wherever they've come from that would qualify as an EU country. Am I wrong? Am I missing a trick here? Is my CPU missing a few files? Well, is it? Or have I hit this nail on the head again, like I try to do, and sometimes hit my thumb in the process? Anyway, is it true that I'm hitting this on the head? Am I missing a trick? Someone please tell me. As well as the fact that at the moment I am struggling with YouTube, since they want to use their social engineering to effectively stop people like me from having their views put out there. They want to stop people who say it how it is and tell the fucking truth from being able to have their say on YouTube. So, should I be going to Rumble? Should I be going to BitChute? Should I be going to Odyssey? Should I be going to any other fucking website that will basically give me a voice? Because it does feel like with YouTube, sometimes I'm banging my head against a brick wall and sometimes my keyboard while I'm at it. Although that's more when I'm playing XCOM, but I digress. The fact of the matter is, we do know that YouTube has a track record of socially engineering this shit, so that when it comes down to people who are prominent figures within the so-called far right, they'll do everything to basically wipe them out. Not in the literal sense, but wipe them out as far as, like, you write something on a whiteboard or a blackboard, and then you use, like, an instrument or a rubber or whatever to basically clean it off, and they remove all the records of you. Or they make it so that if there are records of that person, like they did with Tommy Robinson, they will effectively flood the pages with anti-Tommy Robinson hit pieces. Eventually, people are going to leave YouTube, especially with the thing I mentioned about the BBC, where they were thinking about making a deal with YouTube, where they can make it so that if you watch BBC programmes on YouTube, they'll get you to basically have a TV licence. Well, their time is numbered, personally. Unfortunately, I'm starting to feel increasingly, every single day though, that my time on YouTube is also numbered. Is it time for me to spread my wings? No, not the bingo wings. Shut it. Is it time for me to spread my wings and go to other places like Odyssey, BitChute, Rumble, to name a few? Or do I persevere? That's the question. Obviously, the more platforms, the more social media I hit, the more coverage I'll get. And maybe I will stop getting 200 fucking views per video in the matter of a week or so. Maybe I'll actually start getting
a bit more of a respectable number. I'm not sitting here asking for 1 million fucking views on all my videos, but I would like to see something at least comparable to the amount of subscribers I have, if nothing else. Like, I've got 4,300 subs. Surely I should be able to muster, I don't know, 1,000 views? Surely? Not even 25%. Not asking much. But it's YouTube we're talking about here, so it wouldn't be fucking surprising if they're trying to censor me. But I hope Danny Tommo keeps himself well. I hope he doesn't get himself into any trouble. I think he's got his head screwed on right. He is fighting the good fight. We should all lend our support to him, even if only in spirit in most cases. Because right now, that man and his friends, and anyone who joins his crusade, is fighting the good fight. That fight is against the oligarchies and a death cult that wish to do us harm. If they actually had any semblance of decency, these people would step aside and let the people do the job that they themselves should have done.